Just as we get started, I'll introduce Frances. Frances is a Sister of Mercy, a doctor, and she specialises in moral theology. And Frances' the key role to do with tonight, she really liaises with a lot of teachers studying at CTC, particularly in the Graduate Certificate of Teaching Religious Education. I'm Phil Gleeson, Salesian. I teach systematic theology here, and I look after all the postgraduate enrolments. And then we have Chris Nauf has just come on. Chris is the college registrar, so you'll have something to do with him at some stage, and he's got information on various things. And Jenny Delahunt is from the Academic Records Office. Okay, so you're very welcome. And as I said, this is a specific information session, and it particularly will deal with a number of the courses that are sponsored through Max. So that's really what it's for. So Anna's told us what she's interested in. Irene, what are you interested in studying? Do you know? Do you have a specific area?
Look, religion generally and sort of religious spirituality is an area that I am very close to in my heart, especially in practical terms. Like I did a master's in values education, which is, practical, but then it wasn't necessary. I did it overseas. Right. I mean, I did my thesis based on, islands in the Pacific, and I'm just very interested. So and I'm also interested in meditation and, that side of it. So when I saw it come up, I thought I'd love to know more about it. So I'm really, quite open. And I did like the meditation information last night.
Good.
But then I thought I'd see what you have to offer.
No, that's good. And Rhiannon, what are you interested in?
Sorry, are you still asking me?
Yep, Rhiannon.
Oh, Rhiannon, sorry.
So I'm looking at gaining my accreditation to teach in the Catholic school for religious education. And then after that, I'll look at leading as well, if possible.
Good. Good. Okay, terrific. Frances, I might hand over to you, if that's okay.
Right, just quickly. Right.
Thanks,
Thanks, Phil. Look, the first thing we're just going to give you a little bit of an introduction about who we are, because we're a little bit different from other universities. So if you enrol with us, you are enrolling in the University of Divinity. Now, Anna, you've studied at Australian Catholic University, and others of you will have studied at other universities. Now, what's different about the University of Divinity is that it's modelled on the Cambridge and Oxford model, where the university itself is really an administrative central hub, and all of the teaching is done in colleges. And the University of Divinity has, is it 13 colleges? We've just got 3 new ones in the last week, which are all part of the university. So you enrol in one of the colleges. Now, this is Catholic Theological College here. Yarra Theological Union is another Catholic college. Eva Burrows is Salvation Army. Morling is Anglican. St Athanasius is Coptic Orthodox. Whitley is Churches of Baptist. Sterling is Churches of Christ. Lutheran College speaks for itself. Trinity is Anglican. Pilgrim is Uniting Church. Wollaston is one of the new ones in Western Australia. It's Anglican. This Uniting College clearly is Uniting Church, and that is in Adelaide. And St Francis College is a new Anglican college in Queensland. So people enrol in those colleges. So you would be enrolling in Catholic Theological College. So once you do that, when you come to Catholic Theological College and see what they offer, we offer all kinds of awards, but the ones related to education include the ones in red. The ones we're talking about tonight are the ones in these circles, and all of these courses at Catholic Theological College within the University of Divinity are possibilities for sponsored study by Max. Now, from what you've been saying, I think you're all, Irene, have you got, can I ask you, Irene, do you have accreditation to teach RE?
No.
No, okay. So I think the three of you are talking about accreditation to teach RE, and that actually is gained by one of two ways on this, what's called the LRE pathway that Phil will say something about in a minute, and the graduate certificate in teaching religious education. So they're probably the ones, this is the one you attended last night, and this one leads into this one, the Master of Education and Theology.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we don't see what you're pointing to.
Oh.
We're not seeing the...
Oh, you can't see my, sorry, you can't see.
Well, now we can.
Okay.
You can see your cursor now, but yeah.
You can see it now. Okay, sorry about that. So this one, Phil will talk about. This one's the one I'm going to talk about. And this one, it consists of 45 points, and that ends up being 3 master's units towards this master's. So we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. All right, so Phil, do you want to say something about this?
Listen, I just, brand new this year is what's called LRE pathway, Leadership and Religious Education pathway. But I just wanted to draw it to your attention because it's not for academic credit, as in it's a Leadership and Religious Education pathway. It's an online in-service program which has been developed to meet the requirements to gain accreditation to teach RE or lead in a Catholic school. And the course is offered by ourselves, CTC, the other Catholic college, YTU, in partnership with Max. But there's 57 teachers studying it this year. And thanks, Francis. What is the course? It's comprised of 6 modules. So 3 modules per year, all done online. Each module is 25 hours, 5 hours face-to-face online synchronous, and 20 hours personal learning. Now, but if you go through this pathway and you complete the 6 modules over the 2 years, you'll get ticked, you'll get a piece of paper saying you now have accreditation to teach and lead in a Catholic school, but you won't get a graduate certificate or a master's degree or anything like that. Some teachers are doing this course this year, and I think they went into this course thinking it was for academic credit. So we wanted to be really clear. It's a very legitimate pathway. It's a new course. Francis, the next slide will show the 6 modules. These are the topics that you'll cover over 3 each year in terms 2, 3 and 4. And they're usually 5 Mondays in a row. There's the first Monday is an hour and a half, then an hour, then a week off, and then some time to present some sort of thing you've worked up. But they're the topics: Catholic schools, leadership, mission, etc. RE for educators, Christology, a Christ-centered community. So number 3 is about to start in October. And then next year, the teachers in this pathway will do learning, teaching and leading in RE, Catholic ethics, etc. and spirituality, liturgy and sacraments. But I wanted to start with that because if you were interested in that, it's terrific. It's a very good program. But if you're wanting to get a degree or a graduate certificate, some sort of award with assessment tasks and all that sort of thing, the LRE pathway is not that. It doesn't do that. Okay, any questions there?
But
Yep, Irene?
But it does qualify you to teach RE in Catholic schools?
It will get you the accreditation to teach and lead as per the CECV policy. Okay. And it's a sponsored course. And you complete the 6 modules over 2 years, and then you'll tick the box, but you won't get any academic merit towards any award or anything like that. Okay, thanks, Francis.
Right, thanks, Phil. Well, having explained a little bit about that, because what did happen this year, some people applied for the graduate certificate in teaching RE, which is the next one, and then heard about this other one and pulled out and went into it. Now that's fine. They're going to end up with the box ticked, but as Phil is indicating, some of them are now realising that maybe they went the wrong way. So we just need to be clear about it. So the graduate certificate, as you can see by its name, it's a graduate course. So it's a postgraduate course. You can't do it unless you already have an undergraduate degree. Now, all teachers have at least an undergraduate degree. So you have a bachelor of something, then you move into postgraduate study. So this is quite clearly postgraduate study, and it meets the formal requirements for accreditation to teach religious education or lead in a Catholic school to gain that. And you'll see when we have a quick look at it that you get a significantly greater amount of background and theology than you get in the other pathway. So this is 4 units over 2 years. So you do 1 unit per semester. And in 2023, we're having one version of it will be fully online, and that will have 16 hours of face-to-face. No, sorry, 16 hours of online synchronous. Those dates will be up on our website I'm in the next few days, when the timetable's released. They're 4 Saturdays from 9:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. So 4 Saturdays in a semester. I think for next year it's 3 in first term and 1 in second, because Easter's late and the school holidays and the university break don't coincide. So we've got a 3-week hiatus in the middle. We don't teach on long weekends or in school holidays. So all of the classes are outside those times. There will be a face-to-face venue at St Bernard's College in West Essendon, and that's on a Thursday night, and that's 8 sessions each semester for 3 hours each night. Now that's being organised by St Bernard's College, the venue and set up, but other people can opt for that venue. When you get into Kevin and IPLS and the sponsorship application form, one of the things you'll find you have to complete is the venue or the mode. So if you want to do it online, you tick online. If you want to do it face-to-face, you tick the St Bernard's venue for Catholic Theological College. Is that okay? There's the West Essendon bit. It's actually not till 7:30, it's till 6:30. I made a mistake in typing that. So it's 3 hours, 3:30 till 6:30. If you don't work at St Bernard's College, you would have to negotiate a bit of early leave on the 4 Thursdays per term to get there in time. Now, what else can I tell you about it? So it prepares people to teach religious education. It provides graduates with the knowledge of the disciplines, principles, practices and traditions that form the basis for religious education. So the simplest way I can explain the way the course operates is to say to you that it's no good thinking that you come to class from 9:30 to 1:30 on a Saturday and you'll have your RE prepared for the next month. You won't. This is about your formation. So I'm a reasonably effective teacher, but you could give me the most wonderful physics book and I would be incapable of communicating anything to the students because I don't understand the principles of physics. So this is working on the assumption that you are, and Irene, you've already indicated in talking about your interests, that you're interested in your own professional and personal development in particular areas. And that's really what this program does. It enables you to grow in your understanding, grow in your personal life, in the particular areas that the 4 units cover. And then your question as a religious educator or as a leader in a Catholic school is, you know, what are the implications of this for Catholic education, for a Catholic school, or for how I might go about my religious education classes? So leadership or whatever. Okay. So was that a question or just, so what do you study? So the first unit that you do is one called Introducing the Bible. And it's as basic as making sure everyone understands what the Bible is and where the various books are. But it then looks at some of the Old Testament and some of the New Testament, particularly the Gospels, so that you come out of that unit with a fairly strong understanding of the scriptures and of how they might be used in a classroom, because you yourself have begun to understand them a little bit more, and you'd be looking at particular gospel passages and engaging in a bit of exegesis. The second unit you do is this one. You'll notice some of you, if you're in XE schools, you'll pick up some of this language. In dialogue with the Catholic tradition, foundational theology for teachers. So what does this look at? Well, the first thing it looks at 5 questions, really. First one is, how do we know about God? And that looks at what we call revelation in our tradition. The second question is, who is Jesus of Nazareth? Third one, who is Jesus Christ? Fourth one, what is the church? And the fifth one is really, and what's this talk about life after death? Death, heaven, hell, judgment, all of that sort of thing. Now, we can't give you facts about that clearly, other than about death, but it's looking at some of those key dimensions of our life and our faith. Thirdly, this unit is a bigger unit. It has more assessment and is quite demanding. So it has 2 halves. It really asks the question, well, if this is what Christians believe in the kind of world we live in today, what does it mean for our living? So being followers of Christ, what does that mean? So we have a look at, the first half is looking at, or well, one half is looking at the sacraments and what do we mean by sacramental life, and how does it impinge on our lives as Christians? You know, we're all familiar with baptism, reconciliation, Eucharist, confirmation, marriage, maybe not quite as familiar with orders. What have I left out? The anointing of the sick. What do they actually mean? How do they affect us? All those kinds of questions. And a number of you, number of people in the classes are usually teachers who are actually in charge of, you know, sacramental classes. So so that's half of that. The other half is, so what does it mean for our living? So if we say we believe in Jesus Christ and that he is God become human to live among us, to show us how to live, what does that mean for our living? So moral life's not about a whole lot of rules and regulations. It's about trying to understand what it is to be a disciple in our world today. How do we bear witness to Christ today? You know, we look at things like Laudato Si and you know, what does it mean to be a Christian? Does Laudato Si say anything, the document on the environment? How does that affect our living? And then finally, the final unit is one which really does have a look at, all right, well, how do we engage in religious education? Now, I'm talking to you from the perspective of people being teachers, but the other question here is the one about leading. And clearly, if you have a leadership position in a Catholic school, you need to be able to say something about the Catholic tradition, about the significance of Jesus Christ for the community, about why we gather and celebrate liturgy, prayer, those particular occasions, about why we talk about the kind of character. And Irene, you were talking about values, was it? Did you know, the whole area of values and virtue and character formation. according to the pattern of the gospel, that becomes really significant. And then for leaders, the question, of course, is, well, what is the purpose of, what is the expectation? What are we on about in religious education? Are we just trying to teach people a whole lot of things to learn off? Or are we trying to do something much bigger? And as a leader, how do I contribute to that? How do I work with staff? You know, all of those kinds of questions. So those 4 units, which take 2 years to study, they're the only units you do, but you have a significant amount of time in each one. Are there any questions about any of that? Okay, I'll just keep moving. Oh, there is assessment here. This is very different from the other pathway. So those first units 1, 3 and 4 have 4,000 words of assessment each. Now look, they all have, the first one has 2 2,000-word essays, one on the Old Testament, one on the New Testament. The other 2 have different kinds of assessment, and it's all cumulative. You know, if you're looking at a document, it's a document that will feed into the essay. The one that has Unit 3 has up to 7,000 words assessment, and this has 2 essays, but it also has 2 short papers. They're about 1,200 words each. I don't think it's quite, it can be up to 7,000. And it has a couple of, you only get taught for 24 hours, but we have to make up 12 hours of asynchronous work. So there are some quizzes and sometimes a forum, something of that nature, which makes up part of the assessment. It's not in addition to it, but it contributes to it. So that's quite a demanding semester. That it's your 3rd semester, and it is quite demanding, but we have a system where it's possible to get extensions and we support you. And just to give you an example of the group who graduated in March this year, worked all through COVID, and I don't think we didn't have anyone who failed, and I don't recall anyone who actually pulled out because of not being able to. Someone pulled out because they weren't well, but so we were able to support them right through that whole period, and they still managed to complete. So in fact, I don't remember anyone in all the years I've been coordinating it who's actually failed. There are people who haven't completed for various reasons, but it is possible to do it. So the course outcomes say that you'll have a foundation of knowledge and skills in theological disciplines important to religious education, that your capability to engage with particular faith traditions and spirituality will be enhanced, that you'll be able to communicate religious traditions to students, drawing on sources, and that you'll be able to apply knowledge of contemporary approaches to learning and the teaching of religious education. Now, and there's another one there as well. Now, what about some of the practicalities in relation to it? So you're all probably thinking of sponsorship. So I'll just look at that mostly. If you're applying for sponsorship, the first thing you do is, in fact, apply for sponsorship. And you do that via Kevin. Oh, it's OPL. I said IPL. In OPL. Sorry about that. You changed that. And that's where it's advertised. And the closing date is Friday, the 30th of September. Now, that's a great day to close. It's the last day of the school holidays. So you've actually, you know, the period that it's been open this year has been shorter and later. It's usually open in July. It opened on the 2nd of September, and it's closing at the end of the school holidays, and half the period it's open is in school holidays. So it's not as helpful as it could be for teachers. So you need to talk to your friends about it if you hear anyone talking about sponsorship. It is open, and it's fairly urgent that you have a look at it. Now, at some point, somewhere around the beginning of November, usually, you get notified by Max that your sponsorship application has been successful. And look, so long as you've got a permanent position, an ongoing position in a Catholic school, your chances of getting sponsorship are very high, unless you're a first-year teacher, but I don't think any of you are first-year teachers. So, and what does it mean? It means that you pay a third of the fees, Max pays a third of the fees, and your principal pays a third of the fees. Your principal has to sign off on the sponsorship application and also on the agreement once you've been offered it. Now, once you're offered, this is where it gets complicated for teachers, because they think when they've got sponsorship that they've enrolled. You haven't. All you've got with sponsorship is some money to pay the fees at the university. So as soon as you get your sponsorship application and you accept it and you return it to Max, you then need to apply immediately to CTC for an enrolment package. And you do that simply by sending me an email saying you've been offered sponsorship by Max for whatever program it is. If it's this program, and I send you out an enrolment package, which has a whole lot of information that you need to provide. What do you have to provide? I'll skip this one because you can use fee help and you can pay up front, but you're hoping for sponsorship. That's who pays. Now, with the part that you pay, the third, you can use fee help. Now, fee help's a government loan scheme like HEX. Best way to find out the information is to Google it. Jenny can help you with it if you've got questions about it, but you can get the information on it. It's not our scheme, it's a government scheme. Or you can pay up front. That is, you've got an option of giving your credit card details or BPay, and the money is taken out just before the semester begins. Jenny, is that right? Yeah. Yes. So that's for your part. You've got the opportunity of using fee help or upfront payment. The fees for 2023 for first and second semester, they'll be $1,921 per unit. So your portion of that is a third each semester, a bit over $600, 600 and something, 40 or something. That's what you'd be liable for if you undertook this course each semester. In first semester next year, the people beginning second year, they're eligible for a third of that, which is just under 900. It's a bigger unit. Right. And then the unit falls back to the other amount. Okay. Now I'll just go over the enrolment steps quickly again. So sponsorships offered, you return the acceptance agreement, but keep an electronic copy because we need it. And then you apply for your enrolment at CTC. Yes, so that's if you don't have it. Now, just this is what I'd like to talk to you about, because this is what holds people up once they've been offered sponsorship and they're trying to get their documentation in. You might like to make sure you've got all of this. And this is not a University of Divinity or a Catholic Theological College requirement. This is a requirement of all universities in the country. So you have to provide proof of citizenship, one of two ways: a current passport, not one out of date, and a birth certificate. Sorry, or a birth certificate. So one of those for proof of citizenship. Now, this is what usually holds people up: relevant academic transcripts. Now, on the form, it asks you what qualifications you have. Now, to get into this course, all you need is an undergraduate degree. Some of you might have 3 and 4 qualifications. That's fine, but you have to provide the transcripts for each of them. You'll get into the course if you provide your undergraduate degree. So you can decide how many degrees you write down you've got, but you've got to provide the transcripts for whatever you put down. I'm not giving you this information. I don't think the university would actually agree with what I'm saying, but anyway, that's the reality. All I need is evidence that you have a bachelor's degree. Now, if you can't find your transcripts or you don't know where they are or whatever, are you familiar with My Equals? Okay, so My Equals is an electronic resource. So most Australian universities subscribe to it. You get into it and you follow the instructions. You've got to log on, and you create a log on and an ID. And what you get is you have to put my name in it, and you get a code that you can send to me, and I can log in with that code, and it will give me access to your transcript. And I can download that transcript, and it counts as a valid transcript for the university. So because if you've got yours, that's fine, but you have to get the original. You have to have it certified by a justice of the peace or the police or a farmer, whoever certifies documents, and then you have to get it into us in hard copy. So all of that hassle can be overcome by using My Equals if you'd like to do that. It's totally secure. I can only see the transcripts that you give me access to, and I don't send the code on to anyone. I download what I can see and I send that into the office. This one, everything has to have the same name. So your birth certificate or current passport need to have the same name as your transcripts, or you have to provide evidence of change of name. The most common thing is a marriage certificate, but they've got to be originals that are copied and certified by someone who can certify documents. And that sponsorship certificate that you sent back to Max, no, that has to come in as well, a copy of it. And your USI number. Now, if you were ever not a bartender, but, you know, worked in any kind of hospitality industry, you probably got a USI number then, but you have a USI number probably. But if you don't, you get into the government website for USI numbers, and if you can't find yours, I think they help you find it, don't they, Jenny? But we can't get it, but we can't put your papers through unless your USI number is, we have your USI number. There's a box of chocolates for any student who manages to get all of that stuff in correctly certified the first time round. I spend most of January ringing you up saying, I've got everything except your proof of citizenship, or I've got everything except your USI number. So it's a hassle, but if you've got it there now, you can even take a picture of it if you want to. That's what you're looking for. That's what you need to get together in a bundle. All right, now I think that's the end of my penny section. Are there any questions about any of that? Did it answer the questions that you had? Yes, Irene? You're on mute.
I missed the email that you were saying for us to apply to CTC for an enrolment package.
Right.
And the other thing,
sorry, I clicked the wrong thing there. No, I did the wrong thing there again. What am I doing?
Have you lost it, Francis?
I think I shut the PowerPoint, but that'll be, sorry, it'll be here somewhere. Sorry.
I can find it. I've got it as well.
And
Irene, it's francis.baker@ctc.edu.au.
Francis.Baker.
There's my name up there.
Yep, I got it. And then?
At ctc.edu.au.
Okay. Thank you very much. And the other thing I was wondering about, you mentioned who may be approved for sponsorship. And I understood from that people on contract wouldn't be.
Now, that I can't actually give you the answer to that, Irene. There are, because there are different contracts and there are different times. I think probably the best thing to do is to contact Andrea Lorraine and tell her precisely what your employment arrangement is, and she would give you the most accurate advice, because that doesn't prevent you from applying to do the course with us, but it affects sponsorship.
Yeah,
So, okay. So what I've lost is the PowerPoint that we were looking at. I'm
Frances,
sorry.
I've got the PowerPoint, so I'll share screen and I'll go back.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
There we go. Sorry about that, Phil.
No, that's all right. Sorry, I might just excuse the.
That's right.
So basically, Frances has gone into great detail with the enrolment process, and the enrolment process, if you're sponsored for one of the other courses, will be similar. So your number one thing is to get in by September the 30th to ensure that you get the max sponsorship, and then get in touch with us. So the other courses that you can do at CTC that are sponsored are the Master of Education and Theology, the Graduate Certificate of Teaching Meditation, the Master of Theology as such, Master of Theological Studies, and the Bachelor of Theology. So if you wanted to have a discussion, like Frances has spent time on what is our key course, the key thing we provide for accreditation is the Graduate Certificate of Teaching RE. GCTRE. The other one that a lot of educators who are in leadership roles are doing is the Master of Education and Theology. And a number of the graduates from the GCTRE go into what we call the MEd Theol. And the MEd Theol's 9 units, you'll get 3 units credit from your GCTRE. And we've got a flyer that's just hot off the press. I can send that to you. But there's a number of key units, like for instance, there's a unit called Leadership for Mission in a Catholic School, and everyone must study that unit. There's another one called RE and Catholic Identity through a Pedagogy of Encounter. So there's a lot of EXIM material as well. But if you're interested in the Master of Education and Theology, some units are offered totally online. Some units are offered at St Francis Xavier Beaconsfield as the place to do it. Some are available face-to-face in East Melbourne. I can deal with you and give you all the information about the Master of Education and Theology. The other one that a lot of people are interested in is the meditation one. And that's 3 units in meditation over 2 years or full-time in 1 year. And people can that won't get you accreditation to teach and lead, but you can use some of the hours towards maintaining. But that's more a specific interest. And then the other ones, like you also might decide, I want to study theology. I'm not interested in sponsorship. So what's available to me? Well, there's an enormous number of things available to you, and they can be in the undergraduate area. There's graduate certificates in philosophies, spirituality, all sorts of things. You might decide that you don't want any credit, you just want to audit some units. So I think it's $650 per unit. You can come along, you have no essays or assignments, but you get access to all the material, all the lectures and all that sort of thing. So I can work with you, give you a copy of the timetable. You might just study 1 unit. You might be interested down the bottom here, higher degrees by research. So if you do the GCTRE, then go into the Master of Education and Theology, and you do a minor thesis and score around a distinction average, you can then move into higher degrees by research into Doctor of Philosophy. So we've just scratched, what we've done tonight is try and alert you, particularly to the difference between the LRE pathway and the GCTRE, and just alert you to the other degrees and qualifications available through CTC that are sponsored. But your number one thing is, if you're interested in sponsorship, you've got till September the 30th. And then, as Francis said, because we spent a lot of time with the MEd Theol people right up till they started this year, trying to get all their documents together. Took a long time between initial enrolment and getting it all organised, just because of the documents. Okay, so just the last one there. Sorry, there it is. So Francis Baker's email address there, again, if anyone needs it. And myself, I'm philip.gleeson@ctc.edu.au, or Jenny can be contacted as well. So if you're sitting here tonight and thinking, no, I don't think the GCTRE is it, I'm interested in the Masters, get in touch with me and I'll work with you and give you all the information. But the classic course, and the one that we get most of our students, is that GCTRE. Francis, any final comment?
No, I think I'm happy to talk to anyone as well. If you, I won't be available for the next, well, I will on email. I won't be available by phone for the next fortnight, but I'm not going to the Bahamas or anything. But if you wanted to send me an email and ask, could you have a conversation with me by phone? If you sent me a number, I'd be happy to ring you back, or I'll send you my mobile and you can ring me when it suits you. So if you want to follow up any of those other points, feel free to do that. To say, could I, have your number or whatever. I would have been prepared to put up there. I forgot to do that. So is that okay?
Good.
Here we go.
Terrific. So anyone got a question you want to ask now, or send us an email or whatever, and we can help you along your way in whatever you're interested in. All right. Thank you very much, Francis. Thanks, Anna, Rhiannon, and Irene, and Chris and Jenny. Jenny will solve all of your problems, particularly on fee help and all those sorts of things. She's a wizard on any of those sorts of things. Just ask her.
Anna, can I just ask you, so what did you do at ACU?
So I studied a Bachelor of Education, and I've also I've got my accreditation to teach RE. So
you've got it. Right,
yeah.
That's fine. So you're not interested in the GCT.
No.
So you're either interested in the MEd Theol or something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, good.
So Anna, just get in touch and I can give you any information you need or whatever.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Rhiannon and Irene, if you want to contact Francis or anything else has come up, feel free to contact any of us.
Right.
Thank you. I was just going to say, is it worth contacting our school principal first, just to explain, that this is the process that we want to follow, and just see where they're placed for employment for next year if we are on a contract?
Yep.
Yes, that's probably a good idea. And I would flip Andrea an email just to ask her, could she, well, the first thing is have a look. It might actually explain it on Kevin, on the OPLS, not it might explain it, who's eligible. But even if you think you're not, I'd still send Andrea an email asking her, was it worth applying? And certainly, talk to your principal about what the future looks like. Because I think Max is aware that there are some people who can be on contract for 10 years because they keep taking people's cases, and I think I have a feeling that the length of time someone's been on a contract does have some effect, that they are aware that, there are some people who've been in school longer and some people who've got a permanent appointment on that. So it's certainly worth checking out, Rhiannon.
Yes. I've come from the state system to the Catholic system, so I've been teaching for 20 years.
Right,
but,
okay. So, I think, there are people who don't yet have an appointment, who aren't even teaching, who get in, who can do the course. And you could use fee help to do it, but it's certainly in your instance, I think it would be worth your while to pursue both on Kevin first of all to see what it says. Yep. And don't be put off by Kevin. Go to Andrea and also go to your current principal.
Yep.
Got nothing to lose.
Exactly. Thanks so much.
All right. Good.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Good.
Have a